Good morning. My name is Tim Murphy. I'm here with Mark Frisco with Jobin Realty, and every week we bring you the update on the marketplace just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the market from a real estate perspective and just to show you where things are headed. Today, before we get started, just to introduce Mark is with Jobin, and Jobin's located, Mark, down off of Route 235 down the street from Dean's Lumber. And my name is Tim Murphy, and I'm with CNF Mortgage Company, and we're located in Waldorf, Maryland, right on Route 5 across the street from Thomas Stone High School. Well, first, Mark, we had in my opinion, a phenomenal bus tour last week, didn't we?
It was great.
Saw a lot of houses.
A lot of houses. A lot of them needed an exceptional amount of work, but some of them actually were really good deals. Probably about 3 or 4 of them were really good deals.
Well, we saw that one for $145. That, to me, quite frankly, I was amazed. They had cherry
wood floors and the whole upstairs, yeah.
And actually, what was kind of wild is the people, even though it was a foreclosure, they left 2 packages of extra cherry wood flooring in case you wanted to finish another room. It just didn't make complete sense. But the wild part was, and I told Mark this, we saw houses as low as $115,000.
Right.
And I got to tell you, when you start looking at the numbers and start doing the math, it's so much cheaper to own now than it really is to rent.
Exactly.
So 115, we saw houses for 115. We saw houses for 138, 119, 145, 162, 175. And what amazed me was just to begin to see that homes are truly affordable. They really are.
They are.
And we saw that one house, as a matter of fact, the one that Matt's writing on, the one that we went into, the bank was actually
repairing the mold.
And it was wild because they actually had it closed up. They were doing the mold remediation. They had already pulled out all the sheetrock. They were repainting it, restoring it. And it just made me think of how the real estate community, the market itself, has changed.
It has.
Just in the last 12 months.
Exactly.
And so when
12 months ago, there's no way that a bank would ever repair mold. Exactly. They know that they need to do that in order to sell the house. A lot of the houses that we saw, especially like that one for 145, I think there was like a mold problem in the basement, but that's what we told everybody. You know, nowadays the banks are fixing things, and we've been saying this.
And actually, I think that problem, the little mold that was in the house, honestly was so minor. That was what we considered the steal deal because of the amount of square footage, the location, the lot. Because remember, we sold the house for 138.
Right.
That was, I don't know, same community, like 2 blocks away, and that house had multiple contract offers. So it's amazing to see how the market has changed. I think everybody's trying to get ahead of things too. They really are. But you know what's coming up, Mark? What's October 31st?
Halloween.
Halloween, yes, exactly right. And I think one of the things that we talked about was we really don't want people really to, what I consider to be tricked.
Exactly.
You know, I know Halloween is trick or treat, but we want to make sure that you take the right steps into buying a house. So we want to just jump in and talk about a couple of little tricks that we see happening right now, where we don't want people just to be so rushed in because they got to buy. Because I got to tell you, folks, there's a lot of houses out there. You want to take your time. So the first one is, ready? Don't get tricked into paying too much.
Exactly. I think that to touch on that, like you were saying before we started here, there's a lot of loans out there where you can get zero money down, everything like that. You don't have to come out of pocket as much as some people think. Also,
so missing really, if you will, the loan programs that are out there. Whether it's, and we had one, Mark, the other day where the client had already gone with another lender, was looking at a particular house, and the lender said
they couldn't do it.
So Mark gave me a call, and I said, "Yeah, this makes sense." It was
and we had it taken care of in what, like an hour? Exactly.
Pulled the credit, got the numbers, and wrapped it up. And in fact, he's buying that house with 100% financing, and again, not paying too much, knowing what his payment was going to be, knowing the budget, that kind of thing, right?
Also with paying too much, I think that a lot of these houses, like you said, I would say about 70% of the houses that we've been writing on the past 2 weeks, we've been dealing with multiple offer situations. But we know a few tricks that will get you the house, will beat out the other offer, but you won't end up paying more, so to speak. We don't have to offer $10,000 over list price. We can make it so that we get the house for maybe $1,000 more than what the other offer is.
So there are good tricks, as Mark is saying,
exactly.
And there are bad tricks. So bad trick, paying too much. Good trick, really know how to make the right kind of offer.
Exactly.
Another trick we talked about is accepting the property condition, Mark. And you just talked about that, how, you know what, you don't have to accept the property conditions today. First, you're going to have a home inspection. We require that. We want to make sure that there's nothing that we don't know. Because we're not living in the house. We don't know the condition of it. We want you also to have a professional to come in to look at the house and identify, hey, there's no issues here. But more importantly, if there are problems, we can ask, right?
Exactly. We can ask the bank to fix.
And we did the same thing with Chad and Lisa.
Yep.
With their house and the bank. What did the bank do? Amazing.
Paint and carpet.
Paint and carpet, which blew me away. You know, actually fixed the house. You know, we got Matt's house that he's writing on. They're doing the mold remediation. You're going to have that house in the right kind of condition. So the key is you have to ask. You don't have to accept the property condition. Or if it's a matter of the property has some minor flaws, some programs allow us to roll in the cost of repairs.
With still no money down, right?
That's a positive trick. So you can see bad trick, good trick, right? How about another trick that everybody's jumping into? They're all insane because they're like, November 30th is coming. What are we going to do?
Exactly.
And they're all freaked out about missing
the tax credit.
Exactly.
That's true.
And so we do know right now that $8,000 tax credit is coming to a close. But I can tell you quite frankly, that's the current program that's out there. And if you notice just how they did it when we were at $7,500 and it was a loan, you know, that $8,000, the government knows how important right now having some kind of real estate stimulus, having it out there. So, you know, I've talked to a number of folks. I know the National Association of Realtors, the National Home Builders Association, I know the mortgage industry, I know Congress. They're all working to come up with either an extension of the program, okay?
Or a whole new program.
Or a whole new program. So what Mark and I want you to do, we want you to take a step back and say to yourself, you know what? I know the $8,000 is coming, but if you don't see the magic house, if it's not in your heart that this is the one, step back. Okay?
Well,
just take a breath.
You got to look too. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're on the fence, you know, we've got a week, basically a week to find a house and get you under contract. But here's the thing: we move fast. If you come
we do.
If you come in, we'll get your credit run. We'll find out what you're pre-approved for, and that day that you come in and talk to me or talk to me on the phone, we'll go out. We'll look at 5 or 6 houses, and we may just find you one. And if we don't, there's no need in rushing. There's no need in rushing. But
if you do,
the house may be there for you.
Yeah, we can do it. As a matter of fact, I mean, you know, if you write and you have a ratified contract by November 1st, it is possible. Beyond that date, quite honestly, it's going to be a real push, Mark, because there's so many holidays and Thanksgiving and everything else. So good trick, bad trick. Don't get tricked into buying something if it's not really the house for you. But also, too, don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of it as well. The next trick, paying too much.
Yep.
Mark, we've talked about this before. Mark and Rick and Barbara, they're very good about looking at a house and comparing the marketplace, seeing the competition. One of the big things you guys always look at is really days on the market.
Exactly.
And knowing how long the house has been on the market, you know, what's the condition, have they dropped the price, you know, how much more can you ask? Or is this a time to ask for more?
Exactly. Well, you need to know how motivated the seller is.
Correct.
You need to know whether or not there's any other offers out there so that we know, you know, maybe sometimes if it's a good deal and it's priced right, then we might have to list a little or offer a little bit more than list price. So, you know, things like that happen, and we're always looking out.
So we don't want to get you tricked into paying too much, but at the same time, we want to show you the tricks on how to buy what you want at the right price. Now, one of the big ones that we talk about, Mark, all the time is missing the deal.
Exactly.
And Mark, you hit it right heads on. You said first, if you don't go out there and try, you're never going to know, number one.
Exactly.
But more importantly, number two, we don't want you to miss the deal. And one of the things that Mark and Barbara and Rick have put together is their website. It gives you the opportunity, and that's the allsouthernmdhomes.com. It gives you that opportunity to register in, to focus on what you're looking for, and then, Mark, around midnight every night, it cycles through and
gives you an email update.
It really does. And when we talked about a house, I think last week, that house was $234,000. That house was $234,000. The one that needed a little bit of work that sold just 3 years ago for $735,000. So it's amazing how things have changed from that perspective. And now there's multiple offers. But you had to be there. You had to be ready to go. So that's the critical trick and treats we want you to know. And this, honestly, this is just the sum we really teach. In fact, we teach them in our workshop as well. Now, we want to give you the dates for the workshops. Mark, the next home buyer workshop, if I'm not mistaken, is November
11th.
11th, exactly right. And that's a Wednesday night from 7 to 10 p.m.
Right.
And that's at Rick's office. We always kind of serve you pizza or subs. We always have some fun there. So always come hungry. A lot of times we've got a lot of food left over. And then the first-time home buyer, the foreclosure bus tour.
The bus tour, yeah.
Which, by the way, is not just first-time home buyers. You could be a second-time buyer. You can be an investor just to see what it's out in the marketplace. That's going to be, I think, the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe it is.
And that's a Saturday from 10 to 3:30.
And here's the thing, if you give us a call ahead of time with the bus tour and let us know what price range you're shopping in, we can kind of strategize to see what you want to look at, and so that we're not necessarily wasting your time.
So we'll see you at either the bus tour, you can come to both, or the seminar, and to get a hold of us, best thing to do is to give us a call at the office number 301-373-6257. Ask for Mark. Mark's actually the one who sets things up. Or you can go on to our website at allsouthernmdhomes.com, and we'll teach you the tricks and treats. We'll see you then. Thanks.